Hi, it's Xavier. Welcome to the Bonsai Retreat. And anyway, sun's come blaring out, so I'm going to have to go hide in a minute. But what I will thought I'd do is show you the, I believe it's cork bark maple. And I was going to show you all the pruning that I did, because I actually videoed it. But for the first time in over a year and a half, I had a bit of an issue with the transfer of files from the memory card to the laptop. And you all missed out on me making a very funny face when I discovered that 3 lots of different prunings were all lost. So you won't actually see the pruning that I did with that, but truthfully it is absolutely no different than I did with the earlier maples, and there's a video right there where you can see that. Cleared it out, I lost about half the foliage, cleared out any difficult junctions, 2s, 3s, that sort of thing. There it is, and do you know what? This tree, for the first time in several years, is actually starting to develop. I'll give it a spin. All the wire scarring that was up here and up here completely healed, and because of the colour that the bark goes, it's slowly melding in with the rest of the tree. Obviously from the back we get this flared trunk, which is where I get the Cobra name from, which is why I call this the Cobra. But yeah, it's the healthiest it's been for, actually it's the healthiest it's been since losing the branch that was there. So what's left to do? Well, I'm glad you asked, and if you didn't ask, you should have. Now I want to clean this up, and all I want to do is just take a lot of the roughness out, considering using a wood hardener on it, and I may or may not open up the edges here so we can get it to roll over a little bit more. Or I may actually just decide, you know what, it's been like that for a very long time, I actually like how wide that is, it's definitely natural, and leave it. But I will certainly harden the inside there, because I do not want it rotting anymore. And then probably the only other thing that needs to be done, I definitely will be looking at that, is I want to clean this area here up, because if the bark rolls and heals like this to this colour, eventually it's all going to be that. So I've actually got a really good opportunity to dig that, to nibble that out a bit and get some healing going on there. So I'll be doing that shortly, and also just looking in other areas where we might have areas we can do stuff with. And then the only thing is, we've got this area in here, which, you know, is definitely a result of bad scarring and wound healing. But actually, the more I see it every year, I actually quite like the way it looks, the way that gnarly sort of healing that's going on there. And because the apex is so healthy, I really don't want to do anything with it right now, so I'm going to leave that for now. But with the way the bark roughs up and changes colour, I think that'll be fine. So before I get my tools out to do that, just thought I'd show you something else. I did actually manage to get a dozen or so cuttings from these. I picked some nice long stems, reasonably thick here, and apply the same principles with cuttings to them. I'll probably cut a little bit lower here, take those 2 leaves off, cut here, sorry, take that leaf off, cut here, and then the cutting over there will go into my cutting mixture, which I'm sure you'll see in Bonsai Basics up there somewhere, and I may well cover them over with some sort of humidifier, either a clear plastic top or the back end of an old used drinks container up over a pot, which is what I used to do. And you know what? I have a success rate of about 1%. So let's see if I get a better success rate, because if this is a different and a nicer variety of elm, it would definitely be good to have some good cuttings from it. Anyway, let's get this hardening done, shall we? I would imagine that you've seen my carving video. Well, carving is probably a bit of an exaggeration. My roughing up video, which is showing up there, and that's when I first got to play with this. Well, I'll be using this again, and I'm not going to go through it all again, but I'm also going to be using some of my woodworking curved chisels, and that's just to get a better opportunity to just get under and just see how much I can lift up first. So I've got this. I've also got sharp scalpel, and that would be if I want to actually open up the cambium again and try and promote further rollover. I'm not entirely sure whether I will. I've got my Ronseal, wet rot wood hard, red. What's that? Gone with the wind. Let's not talk about wind today. There's a bit of wind about actually, so we might get some camera shake. So I've got some that it toughens rotten wood. It does exactly what it says on the tin. So I'll be applying that. I've got my brush. Got a brush. And if I do actually open that up, I've got some paste as well, putty, so I can just roll it around to promote healing on that. Obviously, I have my glasses and my gloves, so I will put my glasses on. And the only problem I've got with the glasses is that they're not prescription. So as soon as I take this, oh, I've got a bee. Did you see how I sort of drew away in fright? Got a prescription glasses. So if I take these off and put these on, goodness knows what I'm actually going to start working on. But you should be wearing these because you don't want to be scratching those. We don't need you for now. I desperately wanted to blowtorch something, but I fear this is not the blowtorch tree. You can see there, we've actually got quite a lot of easily to remove softwood, so hence the hardener. And my intention, I think, will be to very carefully remove all this, but I'm actually potentially going to hollow this out, I think, a lot more. And rather than have this roll over, let's take advantage of the effect. Oh gosh, I've got to be very, very careful, because that's just opening up the cambium, and what we don't want to be doing is that. Very sharp object, so I have to be very careful on my fingers, which is why I should have my gloves on. I'm going to keep on working on that, and then when I've got the loose stuff off, then I might have a go and just have a little go on this. That might be a bit sharp actually. Need my smaller one just to get into this lower part here. And it is very, very crumbly, definitely. So if I didn't do anything, all that would happen is that it would just slowly rot away more and more, and possibly get it deeper into the tree. Now, that's going to happen with this anyway. What I want to try and do is preserve it for just a little bit longer. Let's say, just very carefully, just removing the really loose stuff. What I don't want to do is go down so deep that it actually goes through the other side. That's the other issue. Okay. I might actually only use the sanding function on this because that looks a bit harsh, to be honest. That was a really interesting thing to be doing. It's quite deep, certainly in this area here, and there was a lot more underneath this layer here. I actually found more rotten wood, so it went even deeper. Now I'm just wondering about the wisdom of using a wood hardener, basically directed what I think is going to be all the live vein around and under there. This here is pretty hard, so I'll put wood hardener onto the bottom here, see how it reacts, but I'm just a little bit worried. I've opened up some of the cambium in different areas here, and I'm just a little bit worried that if I put wood hardener, it might actually poison the remaining live vein on this side, but I'm less confident about doing that now. Okay, so I actually did a little bit more research, and I'm glad I did, because the bit that was worrying me is something like this is basically chemically based, and it's for dead wood, it's for your furniture, and I just worried that perhaps some of the chemicals that are involved in it might actually have some potential side effects on living tissue, and yeah, it probably does. So what I've actually done is I've ordered some of, it's not a plug, but I've used some of Kaizen's wood hardener, is a combination of resins and stuff. That'll arrive in a couple of days, and then I'm just going to apply that like you would lime sulfur, and see how it gets on. But if you look there, it's got this lovely deep, much nicer than it was, that's for sure. It gives a sense of age and depth to the tree. So that product will arrive in a couple of days, and I'll apply that, and yeah, maybe flash to me doing that. But no, sometimes, you know, if your gut tells you something, follow your gut. Yeah, so much that I'd love to have finished that right then. I think it's a good reminder to us all that if it's a chemical, it's not necessarily going to be great for living tissue, and I really don't want to compromise the live vein going around the other side of this tree, because that's basically all that's keeping this going. So I'll wait for that Kaizen product to arrive. Apparently Graham's been using it for years and years, so we'll see how it gets on. Better to be safe with someone who's used it than take a chance with that hardener that I wasted my money on. I'm sure there'll be some rotting timber somewhere I can use it on. Now the other thing I was going to do was do a little bit of just a little bit of nibbling back here and put some putty in. So we'll do that, shall we? And as I say, I mean, it's interesting flaky bark here, but I just want to try and clear that up a bit more. So okay, so what we'll do is just roll a very big bit of putty on that. Okay, so that's that dealt with. Okay, so if you just give me 2 days and I'll come back and I'll show you me painting that, just to show you what colour it goes. Okay, well, it's 2 days later, and I'm feeling a bit better, which pleases me and hopefully pleases you. My Deadwood Preserver arrived, courtesy of Kaizen Bonsai. I'd love to say he gave me for free, but no, I had to pay for it. But thankfully, thanks to your support and that little bit of money from ad revenue, I was able to buy a couple of bottles of this, as well as a new nibbler tool. So I'll be using this to carve the next project. Okay, well, as I said, I've waited a couple of days. This is all dried off nicely, and I'm glad I did a bit more research. I'm going to go for this Deadwood Preserver. It's apply by brush to dry sound well seasoned wood and allow to dry slowly 48 hours before exposing the surface to water. That's alright, I always forget to water my trees. As I say, I just carefully apply it. And apparently it initially is dark and then fades back to the original wood colour, whatever that may be. I think this might be an alternative to super gluing everything, although obviously the super glue I use when I'm looking to harden wood. And this is really, it's not really, I don't know whether it's a hardener as such, it's more a preserver, so it means that hopefully the rotting doesn't get worse. I don't know. I think I'll observe and see how it performs, to be honest. Yeah. So Kaizen Deadwood Preserver. Let's see if it does exactly what it says on the bottle. I hope so for the price. Okay, well, we're a done job, and we'll remove the bib. We'll restore our instrument playing glass. My database number 31, as you all know. Everything I've done with this will get updated on my Access workflow system, which after 5 years is still working a dream. It'll send me reminders, and the biggest reminder it's going to send me is not to prune. I forgot to read it. What I was trying to do is to grow a long length so that I could do a thread graft, and I was considering a branch lower down, But the more I look at it, I actually don't think it needs it. Now that I've hollowed that right out, and if you see a picture of what it looked like before, I think you'll see there's a massive difference there, and hopefully the tree will do well for it. So I'll give you a spin. It's all, I assume it's corking over this colour. Please, if someone knows the variety and it's not cork bark, let me know. It's interesting. Yeah, so that's as much as I'm going to do with it. Some trees, they move along slowly. As your own skill levels increase, suddenly you're able to do a little bit more with the trees that you already have. So, really happy that I've moved this forward a little bit further, and even happier that I think I'm now going to be preserving that. Let's just get more growth on this. So from Xavier in his bonsai retreat, thanks so much for taking the time to watch. Hope you got something out of it. I'll have a link down below for the preserver that I've used. Don't get paid for it, but the amount of information, knowledge that I get from Kaizen, Graham Potter, that pays for itself anyway. So happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.